Hello and welcome to Rockin the Love. I'm Robyn.
And I'm Gil, and we are grateful to be here hanging out with everyone today on this beautiful Wednesday. Oh my goodness. What's happening out there?
I don't know, the year is slip sliding away. It's going so fast. We went to put stuff in our calendar this morning, a class that we're teaching, and we marked the 12 weeks, and we were like, oh my God, it's going to be December.
It's Christmas.
It just happens so fast. Time is like so elusive.
No kidding.
So anyway, this is Rockin the Love. As you know, that's what we like to do here. It's all about relationships, and honestly, we're in relationship to everything, to ourselves, to the world, to each other, right?
To our things,
To our finances.
Our thoughts, to our it's all about relationships.
It's all about relationships.
Unfortunately, you cannot escape this one. So there you go.
So there you go. So no matter where you go, there you'll be in relationship. So that's what we talk about here. And we have an emphasis on New Thought, of course, because that's who we are. And so we're so excited that we have guests today. We have Reverend Jason Mitchell and Reverend Carlton Teabout from Agape. So I don't want to banter a long time. I want to get to it. Get to business.
Okay.
So we will do that if you will like us and do those things that we ask you to do on social media, just because it helps the algorithm and I don't know, our ego as well. So do it if you're so inclined. And we appreciate it. And please let us know where you're joining us from in the chat. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to hear from you. And I know as our guests come out, I'm sure they'd love to hear your thoughts as well. So today we're talking about oneness in action. What does that mean?
Well, that's an interesting title. I think it means, for me, technically, oneness is in every action. You can't be out of action because oneness is the one thing that's happened.
Interesting.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, for me, I was really thinking more about how our movement is coming together with other movements, other faiths, other religions, other philosophies, and really finding the commonalities. And I was thinking that really is us stepping into that space of oneness.
Well, yeah, and that's been a fascinating thing for, I think, any of us who've come into the New Thought, Ageless Wisdom kind of teachings, is that there are several different groups who have come out of this teaching or who teach this. And the basic teaching is that all things lead to one, everything is one, and yet we're not all one in certain ways. So,
well, it's the journey, it's the delicate balance, right, of honoring our differences,
right,
and knowing that is still part of the one. Okay, I don't want to get too into it because that's what we'll do in a minute. But anyway, our week was good.
Week was good.
Week was good. And yeah.
We got to start teaching the class last night. That was fun. We got a rainstorm the last 2 nights here in New Mexico. That's something to talk about.
Especially during the 90-degree weather.
Yeah, we drove over the Rio Grande River today, and in fact, there was water. That has not happened in several weeks. So there you go.
It's a big occurrence here. So they all judge the river on whether or not there's water. It's so interesting. It's so interesting to move to a new place. They're like, what side of the river are you on? Is there water? That's strange to me.
Well, from the Bay Area in California, we asked what side of the bay you were on, but we never asked if there was water.
No, we know there's water. All right, so we're going to get right to our good news, because that's what time it is, and that's what we like to do, because in this world right now, there is such an opportunity to open up to good news and to know that it's happening, because we certainly hear enough of the other. And so we like to highlight what's good in the world, because there's lots of that going on. So what's your good news for today?
Okay, my good news is kind of silly, but it's in honor of our producer, who obviously comes to us from a secure bunker location in Ohio.
Okay.
And this story comes from a woman in Australia
Mhm.
who had lost her iPad. It was gone. She'd been on a trip to America. She'd been in Ohio and she lost it. And it was important, not only because, when you lose stuff like that, it's annoying, but more than that, she had stuff stored on there that she didn't have stored other places. She had pictures, she had some projects she was working on in animation. And so, so she, after a while, put out something to a Reddit subthread in Cleveland, Ohio, and said, I'm looking for my tablet. I lost it. And the other day it pinged. And it says it's somewhere there. And people started researching and the address, the location and all that stuff. And at any rate, after this time of roughly 2 years, she got it back because it went to an electronics recycling center. And when people tracked down the address, they found that's where it was. And she called them and they said, oh, yeah, that happens here. We get that from time to time. So they looked around and found it. She sent them the numbers and everything. They found it and got it back to her. So after 2 years, she got her iPad back.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But see, there you go. There's that location stuff too. She's in Australia this whole time and she's locating it in Ohio. So there you
Oneness
go.
in action.
Oneness in action.
Absolutely.
That's it.
All right. And I want to just take a minute and welcome Shay and Cheryl out there. Hi, good to see you all. So my good news is from Montreal. And in Montreal, Canada, a man who just recently celebrated his 87th birthday was out taking a walk and he went into cardiac arrest. And someone rushed to his side and gave him CPR and they called 911 and all of that. And when they did the CPR for about 20 minutes. And when the paramedics got there, they took over and they were so grateful because time was so vital in the situation.
Right.
And nobody knows who did it. The stranger disappeared. They don't know if it was an adult, a child, a woman, a man. They don't know because it was just a good Samaritan that did what they were there to do.
And let the professionals take over when they got there.
Yeah. So there's the family would like to find the individual to thank them. But it's just, to me, it's just such a random act of kindness. And, really, we are all angels at times for others. And just being able to be there in that moment and support in that way and save a life. So that is my good news story for the day.
Wow, that is kind of cool.
Right?
I've heard those stories before where people are, very much convinced that it was not a strictly human experience.
Right.
Whatever the person was that showed up to support them in their moment of almost losing life completely. Very interesting. But whatever it is, it's still about the oneness. It's still about the fact that we're all connected and that connection is constantly flowing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I was just thinking when you said that, what did you say? A non-human experience?
Yeah. It may or may not be human. It's a sense of.
It just made me think and wonder, are we really just human? Any of us? But that's a whole nother show. Although I know that our guests could talk about that as well. We're going to take a break and have just a minute for you to grab your coffee, grab your beverage, or whatever it is you need to do. And we'll be right back here and welcome our guests, Reverend Jason Mitchell and Reverend Carlton Teabout from Agape International. So we'll see you right back here in a few minutes on New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Well, hello there. This is Dr. Sydney Steen. I am the senior minister and spiritual leader of the North Hollywood Church of Religious Science. We are a oneness center for spiritual living. And I just want to invite you to something that I think is really, really special. In October, from the 6th to the 10th, at Unity Village in Lee Summit, Missouri, the affiliated New Thought Network will be hosting the most wonderful retreat. This will serve your soul. It will lift your heart. And oh my goodness, I want to call it an advance. So come hear wonderful speakers like Martha Creek, Sonny Cantrell, and the music will be off the hook with Ricky Byers. There will be so much there to support your soul. I hope that you will join us. You can go to antin.org. That's ANTN.org. You can get all the information. You can sign up. You can use a credit card, and it is safe and secure, and I hope to see you there. Have a blessed day.
Hello, we are back. We are back on Rockin the Love and so excited to be here. Thank you for joining us. Again, we're going to ask you to please like us if you would. And we're going to bring out our guests today, who are Reverend Carlton Teabout and Reverend Jason Mitchell.
We're also going to ask you to chime in on the chat, to ask questions, to make comments, to whatever you'd like to, because that's all part of the show, part of the fun. So welcome, you two.
Thank you. So good to be here.
Thank you for having us. Absolutely. It's our joy. I'm speaking for you, Reverend Jason.
I'll allow it in a oneness conversation.
Well, there's so many things that we could say about you and what you do in the world. Both of you do so many incredible things. And I know that, we date back to Carlton was singing in the choir. And
that's right.
Arms wide open. And but Reverend Carlton has done many things. He is a spiritual teacher, a minister, a counselor, a dad, and a loving partner. And he's just a joy to be around. He's what else?
He's a graduate of the Michael B. Beckwith School of Ministry in 2020 and a practitioner a spiritual practitioner since 2006, which I just realized was just 2 years after I graduated. I didn't realize you've been a practitioner that long, Carlton.
Old
Wow,
school.
man. And Jason follows along with many of those things. He's currently head of all of the spiritual practitioners at Agape licensed spiritual practitioners. He has a morning, is it a morning prayer call?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was 6:30, but I wasn't sure when I thought 6:30. I want to make it sure. So he keeps his hand in a lot of things at the Agape International Spiritual Center, helping it continue to be what it is, to grow and to serve the communities that it serves.
And you'll hear so much more about
Yes.
both of them. And we're so excited that they are going to be participating in an upcoming conference with us that you are all invited to, entitled LinkedIn Spirit. And this is going to be in Las Vegas. For all of you Southern Californians out there listening, come on. 5 hours in the car, 45 minutes on a plane, and so much fun to be with all of us. Right?
So
Absolutely.
how'd you guys get hooked up with the conference?
I think the main way we got connected with Las Vegas Center for Spiritual Living is through Reverend Cynthia Ambries, and because she's installed there now, and we've been, I think all of us in the New Thought movement who are of our particular, I'm going to say generation, let's say, have been wanting to connect with Unity, with CSL, with Agape, and this is really a great opportunity to do it. I'm so happy that Reverend Stacy and Reverend Cheryl initiated. I know they did some other things the last couple of years, but I think this is a bigger, bolder way of really creating that field. So Reverend Cynthia was my introduction to this group.
No, great.
Yeah, it was the same for me. Reverend Cynthia is our classmate. We graduated from the Michael B. Beckwith School of Ministry together. And both of us, Reverend Carlton and I, were facilitators for Reverend Cynthia. She came through the Practitioner Studies program over the years. And so it was a wonderful opportunity to be at the beginning of something that we think will continue for many, many years, and become a really big opportunity for communities like ours, like Agape, and all of the affiliates and sponsors of the New Thought Media Network to come together more often. So we're really excited about it.
Beautiful. Yes, and just for the record, I invited Reverend Cynthia, and I haven't heard back from her, so I'm thinking I might have the wrong email. But I invited her to come on with you all, and I invited her to come on anytime because I would love to have her here.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, and speaking about old school, we graduated. Well, I graduated as practitioner in 2001, and he graduated 3 years after that.
3 years, 4, yeah.
Yeah, when Agape still was CSL.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you know, we stand in that, and it's such an interesting experience. I don't know how you experience it, but having have moved out from Agape and gone into CSL and other arenas, it's so interesting when, people hear you're from Agape, because it's either they're very excited or they're not.
Yeah. It's an interesting. Yeah, it's a really interesting dynamic. I was actually the first graduating practitioner class after Agape.
I was going to ask you if you graduate, which way you graduated. Okay.
Yeah, so I was right in the middle. We separated towards the end of 2005. So my 2005 year one curriculum, Prac 1 curriculum, was Science of Mind, Church of Religious Science. And that was before it was CSL. And then my year 2, I graduated, was through Agape University. So it's so I was right there in the mix. And it is interesting. It's an interesting dynamic. And I think I've been texting back and forth with Reverend Stacy, because she did mention that in the podcast last week. And so my original movement through the courses was Science of Mind. And then the curriculum shifted a bit. And now I'm managing the university at Agape, and still, we still implement some of the foundational teachings. And there's still the opportunity to want to bring more of those foundational teachings into our community, but also share some of the newer teachings from Beckwith, from Reverend Michael. And so I think there's an opportunity for us to all kind of play in the teachings, but also expand in the consciousness, right? That's what we've been, and I love the theme about, oneness today. It's like, this is the way that we get to do that, and we get to step into action and connecting in that particular way. So what do you think, Reverend Jason?
Well, while we wait for our host to return, I think that there's a really good opportunity for us to build that cohesion among the different ministers. I tell you what, I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's talk. I'm looking forward to sharing what Spirit is speaking through to me, but I'm honestly looking forward to the fellowship and the connecting with people from other ministries and other places, because I just haven't had that opportunity to really just sit and fellowship and talk with other people, because so often I'm in the business seat, right. At Agape, and the opportunity to share with, to break bread, to in between classes, after all the workshops are over, to just be sitting around a table with some people is very high on my list of things I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, likewise. I mean, it's one thing. It's great to be asked to speak, and that we get to do what we do, but also we get to be in the flow of connecting with folks and really establishing that LinkedIn spirit. Look at that, the title of the of the conference. But yeah, that's, I think, and I've had a little bit of an opportunity to do that with other CSL churches, and we Skip's installation, and there's a lot of things going on locally right now that they're starting to merge more, and I just look forward to more of that.
Yeah. We were talking about what we're looking forward to at the conference.
Great. Thank you for stepping.
Yeah, thanks so much. So I just wanted to respond real quick to Carlton. It's interesting because I graduated in 2004 as a practitioner, but I graduated in 2008 as the first class of the University of Transformational Studies and Leadership, which was the predecessor to the Michael B. Beckwith School. And so I too went through half of ministerial school as CSL or as United, and then the other half through Agape. So the interesting piece is how we're really, it's just all about finding the ways that different people hear it. It's not that we're saying anything different or new or special, and so how can we accent what others, how can we support one another in reaching those who will hear it the way we say it? You know what I mean?
I'm not an expert on it, but the thing that comes up the most for me is that we need to get together, which is one of the things that's exciting about this conference. And we need to get together without sort of the idea of leadership or the idea of who's in charge. We just almost need to get together in a way where it's almost like we used to have gatherings for sacred circles, and there might be 2 or 3 people who are hosting, and it would rotate between people's houses. It's almost the type of feel, or the energy right now is like, we're going to meet every month for a year, and one person hosts, and people show up and they make a commitment to it, because Agape gets regular requests and inquiries about other Agape communities around the world because there are a lot of communities, Christian and otherwise, that use the name Agape in their title. But
Right.
Agape does not have that many affiliates. We have more affiliates now than we've ever had. And we have, from time to time, other communities wanting to affiliate with us. But that connection of all of the communities, all of the CSLs, because there are also still some religious science communities that are still floating around and maintaining that and never moved over with the CSL shift. And so there's a lot of wonderful communities around and not necessarily a central hub where we're all coming together.
Right.
Absolutely. And I remember when we were moving to Oakland because Gil got a job there and we were leaving Agape, and Reverend Michael said to us, you're just moving out of the house. This is your family. This is where your family lives. You're just moving out of the house. And we were up on stage saying goodbye. And I said to the congregation, I realized, because this is when Michael first started talking about Agape as a movement. I was like, I realize if it's a movement, somebody's got to move. And I'm taking one for the team, because I didn't want to leave, but I realized, and then when I got to Oakland and when I was back in CSL, and, I realized really what all I can think of is lightning rod in a way that we were, because everybody wanted to talk about Agape and everybody wants some of what we've got. And I don't mean that from a pretentious place, but I mean, people would be like, if people can see where we're coming from. I mean, just the other day, we had someone say, okay, I want to talk to you about Agape Ministerial School because I want what you two have. I didn't go to Agape Ministerial School or no ministerial school, for the record, nor will I. But I got it. It's not that, because it's this inner light that we carry.
Yeah.
And not that every organization doesn't have that going on, but it is what it is.
And
Right?
I think the opportunities that we get to share it with one another, we get to really bring it and what
be it.
unique things, each one of us has, and what unique things each of those leaders and people in other organizations have. We bring that together. It's that's the power of oneness. That's where the oneness is.
Absolutely. And I think I so agree. And I think the action that we can take, and the word invitational keeps coming into my awareness right now. And it's like, really, if we're just invitational to each other, and like that line of communication is open. So I would love to know when certain things are going on, and we do the best we can with marketing. It's a whole thing. I get it. And just being, managing the university and marketing the classes, like, I want to make sure that those classes are available to everyone, and not trying to jump on other people's communities or business aspect or anything of it. But the more that we're invited to participate with each other, the more that we'll be connected, and the stronger our united field will become. So that invitational aspect. And then the other side of that is join. And I love the little, I think it's in the writing around New Thought in the Desert and Linked in Spirit. But the other part of that is join in joy. There's that invitation that says join in joy. And it's like, yeah, why wouldn't you want to like be in a prayer class or an advanced class with people from other communities? I love my community, but I know all of them, and I know where we're coming from, but let's expand that. Let's take it out. And so that's why I think this conference it's just a great time, great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, we can talk diversity and inclusion and love and oneness all we want. And if we're not really having an exploration of each other and where we're coming from, we're not going to go anywhere, and it's that really, really honoring of faiths, and beliefs and thoughts and all of that leads us to that oneness.
And I want to comment that, even in the midst of that, there will be things that that we do, just like there are within our communities where it doesn't quite work out the way we thought it would. And that's okay too. That's really important. Our center here went through a process of we were merging with a Unity Center, and the official aspect of that deteriorated. And we have a whole lot of folks who have come from the Unity movement that are part of our place here now. So, it didn't look the way I thought it would, or, any of us who started it thought it would, but it's good. It's because we keep reaching out to one another, we keep connecting and talking and enjoying one another.
Including having a Unity teacher who, is equivalent to a practitioner for them, and she's so clear that she's not equivalent to a practitioner in training, but in consciousness she is, and she's so excited to be learning and taking on these new things and combining that with what she does as a Unity teacher. So it's fascinating to really be in this integral time.
So can I, and you guys are both each individually presenting, if you will, at the conference, having an opportunity to speak. Do you want to say anything about like what's the piece that you really want to share?
I was just gonna speak into that from what you both were just speaking to, around really there is no better time right now to lead by example in I'm going to use the term stepping over the reaching across the aisle, right? It's like we get so much of the activity of otherness and againstness and all that stuff. And I'm not saying that I've experienced a lot of againstness in our spiritual communities, but there does feel like there may not be the united field that we can be. So what better time than to really, really lead by example with that? And my talk is actually around that. It's like link up. What is it? I forget the title. It's link in, light up,
yeah.
Link in, love up. No, link in, light up, love loud. And what that means to me is exactly that. It's like get together, connect, right? Light, be your authentic self, light your light, come to us full out and love loud so we can take it and be contagious. Like when we come together, two or more gathered, right? When we come together in that energy, there is a contagious field of love that goes out into the universe. I know this for sure. And so the more that we connect with that intention, the more that beneficial presence we have on the planet. And then the other part of that talk is about, when it gets intense, because there's no doubt about that there's some really intense situations that are taking place. We have to intensify our practice. We have to we have to gather, we have to connect, but our own individual practice has to intensify. And so that's what I'll be speaking to. And I think it directly relates with what we're talking about as far as the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to say hi to Cheryl out there again, and thank you for your comments. And Miriam Green, I love you too. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's so good to be with the family. So anyway, yeah. And Jason, so you want to tell us a little bit about your talk or your ideas?
Well, very much what's coming up for me is still formulating, but it's about recognizing that we're all links in one chain. And the idea in consciousness that we could ever be separated, or that we could ever be broken, or that we could ever be adversaries is part of the illusion that so many of us are seeking to awaken from. And the enthusiasm for having a practice, and my practice not being your practice, the enthusiasm for being more embracing and accepting of each other and less trying to determine through dissecting and separating how somebody's doing something right or not doing something wrong. And what does it look like to realize that we are all one, and how enchanting it could really be to fall in love with all of our differences, knowing that those are also my differences. And as I can accept everybody else's differences, there's no part of me that I can't love.
Okay, take us to church, Robyn Jason. Yes. I
Get me
felt
ready
that
to go.
one.
Get me ready to go.
Well, we're actually doing a workshop there as well. And so,
Tell us
yeah.
about it.
Well, ours is more,
We're going to have some fun
we're going to have some fun.
because you got to
I
have
heard
fun
like
together.
Survivor. I heard Survivor last week.
Yeah,
It's
it's
Loosely
based on the TV show Survivor. And it's really about connection, and connection matters more than anything, you know. And you said something earlier though, Rev Carlton, that resonated for me, because you said, you know, it's all about the love, which is what the show's about. That no matter what, at the end of the day, it's, you gotta rock it with love. It's just you. That's the only way. And it reminded me of when I used to go to Agape. I don't know if you guys have had this experience. Anyone out there, if you have this experience, but like when I used to take somebody new, I was like so nervous because I was so nervous, because like, oh my God, what are they gonna think? Da da da. And usually people would watch Reverend Michael and they'd be like, the first time, because he talks so fast, and by the time you've got one concept, you're like, what did he say? What's he? So I get very nervous. So, but the one thing I always knew was that no matter what, if they liked it, if they didn't like it, that they couldn't deny the love in that room, because that sanctuary, when you walked into that room, you could feel the love. You could just feel the love. And it was all different people from all different places, needing and wanting all different things. And it was just like total love. And I mean, I think that's where we're at in the world. You know, it's like, it's standing in that place of love. And that's what we're all doing individually, no matter what we call ourselves, or what we, Unity or Agape or CSL or
Yeah.
Pentecostal, you know.
Yeah. I have to say too that I feel that I've experienced that. So the first New Thought church that I went to was the church, which is now CSL North Hollywood. But it was the Church of Religious Science, North Hollywood Church of Religious Science, when I first got into New Thought. And I met up with Reverend Mark Vieira in West Hollywood. They were doing a conference about spiritual centers, right? And there were all sorts of like different spiritual centers in this thing. But he was the one that spoke and about New Thought, and I loved him immediately, and I felt loved and seen by him immediately. We weren't even in the setting. And so when I went to that church, that I felt that exact thing. Now, when I went to Agape, it was a whole different thing, because there was the music playing and there were people that looked like me and with hair and all sorts. So I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm home here. But every CSL church that I have gone to, and for Unity experience that I've had, I have also felt that same thing. I have also felt really welcomed, really appreciated, invited, all the information that so I think that's something that the New Thought movement absolutely has, and we can stand in that power.
I think we're called to love. That's who we are. You know, I mean, to be that space where people can find themselves, and I think there's a sense of that. And I'll agree with you. You know that I've had that experience at Agape. I've had it when we first went to Oakland Center. I've had it when I came here to Rio Grande. You know, and I've had it with other centers around that I've visited. You know, that feeling of, this is really, I am accepted here no matter what. You know, so yeah, I have to agree with you.
And while it may be more common, I think it's a unique experience. You know, I mean, because we've had people come and be like, oh yeah, no, I've at my place where I went before, I felt like I couldn't do this or I couldn't do that, or they wouldn't approve of this. And I think, you know, I forget because I've been in this bubble for, you know, 20, 30 years or more of love and peace. And, you know, my mom was a hippie, you know, so it's like we were Buddhists, we were Jewish, we did everything. So I've been in this bubble of people that operate from that place. And, you know, clearly that's not everybody's experience.
And yet that's what we're called to be present, to give people the space to work through whatever those experiences have been.
Right.
You know, not to necessarily demonize anyone else, but just to be the space for people to have a place where they can move through that, you know, because sometimes those experiences are driven more from our own perspective than from reality. And sometimes, you know, they're driven from reality, but there's both, you know, so it's just holding people. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I just want to share Cheryl's experience that when her daughter first invited her to Agape, she felt like she was home. She was very excited, and after service, she immediately asked her daughter if they could come back. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful experience.
Well, when people find their space, you know, we just started a class last night, an introductory class, you know, like a foundational type class for here, and Robyn and I are teaching it together.
Change your thinking, change your life.
And the one gentleman in the class, is the first time he's taken the class, and he just broke open the first class and said, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I can be here, you know, and I can be who I am. I don't have to pretend. I can share what my real experience is." And it's just such a gratifying thing to be in that space. And I think in terms of this kind of conference together is realizing that that's what we're all about. That's what everybody's about, you know, and it's more fun when we play together. Just is.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. And so we welcome you all to come join us and know that it's your place. Because it's going to be fun. I can guarantee you. And the lineup of people speaking is, it's just beyond the beyond for me. I mean, it's just not only because you all are great speakers and, you know, great visionaries on some level, but you're so authentic and real and present. And it's great to be able to, you know, be with people like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had one thing that you think would change the movement in terms of getting together, or what's my question? What would be your offering to, like what would be your next hope or dream to see happen, or the next step to that?
The coming together of everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this process.
Thank you.
So from your perspective, go.
You know, I think that the opportunities that we have ahead of us are primed for the time that we live in. You know, I love how the love movement and the hippie movement of the late 60s and the 70s ran at the exact same time as the oppression of the Vietnam War, ran at the exact same time as America, very interestingly, had a lot of access to higher education. Coming out of the 70s and the 60s, there was such a squeeze on higher education, which is why it's expensive the way it is today, is because there were so many people studying and so many people learning. You had political figures that came out and said, we've got to find a way to make this less accessible. And the world that we live in today is calling forth that same loving, high vibration service to humanity, for peace, for liberation, for everyone. And our teaching centers that. It's in all the teachings, but you can't access new thought without oneness. You can't access new thought without love. You can't find your way into, and maybe if you're creative, you can find your way into any corner, but you can't really back yourself into a corner and recognize at the same time that there are universal principles governing the universe and everything in creation, and no one is separate and no one is broken and all of us are loved. You can't do those two things. You might be able to do it and hide in certain other types of spiritual paths. And so the time that we live in is really asking us if we've really said yes to truly awakening. Have we really said yes to true liberation? And liberation for everyone. Not just liberation for people who wave a certain flag, not just liberation for people of particular racial or ethnic or social groups, but liberation is liberation is liberation is liberation. And your liberation may rub up against my comfort. That doesn't mean it's wrong. Your fully being yourself may make me feel like I may have some things I don't know about. Maybe you have some things I need to learn about. But that doesn't make your liberation wrong. The silliest thing went across social media the other day where the rapper Snoop Dogg came out and said he was watching a child's movie with his grandson, I believe, or his grandchild. I don't know, it was a boy or girl.
Yeah.
And the characters had same-sex parents, and the child asked him about that, and he felt so uncomfortable because they're pushing gay this or whatever. And it's like, I'm sorry that you have the inability to explain to your child what's happening in the world today, but there's no agenda there. If there were two parents in the show, you would need to explain two parents. If the parents were divorced, you'd have to explain divorce to the parents. How old do you have to be to not realize that you need to fundamentally be able to explain the world to your children and grandchildren? It's
Right.
not the world's problem, it's your problem, and your ineptness is the issue. And we don't have to be those kinds of people in the world. We don't have to push people into corners. We don't have to hide and pretend like war doesn't happen, but we can teach our children from their youthful age, because you know what? There are children who know that war is going on because their parents are dying in war. So it can't be something that God has said is not okay for children, because children are experiencing it everywhere. So get rid of all of these limited thought forms that you're holding and how you place people in boxes. And it's time for us to really love each other, really get about liberation for everybody.
Yes. And I just want to jump right in on that, because our children are going to be fine if we're okay. And a lot of the work that we have to do is get with our child, our inner child that's going on now, and that's around all aspects of it. And so I love the space that we hold, that we're ever evolving, ever expanding. We're always working in our own mind, right? So there's the opportunity for us to move past any of those uncomfortable spaces and be the invitational, again, that word, the invitational space, the safe space for folks to come in to be held while they're moving through it, while they're growing and expanding. And I love what was just John Chastain, I think, from Agape Bay Area, just was speaking to exactly what you brought into the conversation, Reverend Jason. So thank you. And at Agape, we have the One Love Ministry, which is an LGBTQIA plus focused, but it's open to everyone. We've extended our invitation for everyone to join in. So we have a lot of allies that are participating in the ministry. And our next meeting actually is bringing in Inspire. It's a local gay community, spiritual community in West Hollywood. And we're bringing them into our meeting. So we're trying to do the same thing with the gay community the gay spiritual community, to like open that up. So we're not, you got to go here, you got to go there to get, no, you can step in any of our New Thought spiritual centers and be held in safety and empowered in truth. So that's I think what this whole connection gets to do. However, and whatever each of us are bringing, we all have a particular space in which we, that we take up space. So let us take up that space with arms wide open.
Arms wide open. Well, unbelievably, we have come to the end of our time, and it's been so enlightening. But I think it's what you were saying is so true in so many ways, both of you, and especially Rev Carlton. When you just were talking about bringing in Inspire, it reminded me of what bringing in Reverend. I can't think of her name right now. Pentecost.
Bishop Plunder.
Yeah, Bishop Plunder. And, really, really knowing that as we are connected to these other communities that, it's not that we need people to land at Agape or CSL or any of that. It's that we want to serve them to find their place and to know that they're welcome. And, and so I think, being in connection with other communities is so important.
I was thinking, just another quick comment, is the thing that I feel like I really gained from my time at Agape, and I really continued to work on, it is coming from the heart and embodying what we believe, because it is easy to point the finger on occasion at other people for what they're not doing or should be doing. And what's hard for me is to figure out how to love them to the place where they might receive it in a different way, and that's not easy. And I don't fault anybody for their process in that process, but it's important.
Well, it's all a process. What'd you say?
It does start with us and just where you are with yourself there, Reverend Gil. It's the compassion that we have. If we have it for ourselves, like, oh, I'm feeling a certain way about this, then that leads us to be able to have compassion for the one we're pointing the finger. But it has to start with just awareness of that.
Right. So I want to, thank you everybody for participating and commenting. I know we didn't talk about all the comments, but I really want to give Rev Carlton and Rev Jason like 30 seconds to tell us about your morning call and your 21-day program.
Oh, me first? Okay, so I hold from the 1st to the 21st every month. There's a 21-day, 21 minutes is what it's called. It's a intentional meditation practice. So it's live on Zoom. It's free. We get online around 7:15, around 7:21. I set an intention. I do a little intro. We go into the stillness, and then I come out with affirmative prayer. It's 21 minutes. You're usually done around 7:42, and you have an intention for your day. Again, it's free the 1st through the 21st every month. You can send an email.
Where can they get information?
Yeah, if you just send me an email at Carlton Teabout at yahoo.com, my name, yahoo.com. And I'll come up. Just 21 days.
And you can always send us a note if you miss it. Go ahead,
Sure,
Jason.
On Monday.
All right, that's right.
They're off and rolling on Monday. For almost in October, on October 1st, it will be 13 years that I've been facilitating our daily prayer call. It's a morning session that started off on a conference call line and now streams on Instagram on my Conscious Lens Instagram page and my Jason Mitchell Facebook page. Now it's expanded to about 50 minutes, sometimes a little longer than an hour, but we dig in. It's really become a place where we share inspirational readings, not always readings, because sometimes just the tea is already hot. And we dive right into the spirit and we're in the flow and we know that there's something moving, but we are engaging in discussion around spiritual topics and bringing them directly to our lives. And we focus on bringing our practice to our lives. Currently, we are in day 3 of a 60-day challenge to prioritize our spiritual practice. So what we've called it is, the 60-day My Practice is My Priority Challenge, where I'm asking people to put in 2 hours worth of spiritual practice in their day and see what happens, which means for a lot of us, we've had to cut out a bunch of stuff, but we're off and rolling, and day 3 is magnificent. So feel free
And
to
can people,
jump in anywhere you want.
okay, people can join even though it's day 3.
Yep, absolutely. Because you go 3 days after we're finished. It'll be all good.
Excellent. Excellent.
And the Facebook page is Our Daily Prayer Call. And then my personal Facebook page where I stream things from is Jason Davion Mitchell.
Perfect. And of course, we all are inviting you to come join us in Las Vegas at the upcoming conference, Linked in Spirit. It's going to be a funky good time. And you don't want to hear from your friend, oh my God, you should have been there. So I just say, look into that right now. The link has been broadcast. And if you don't have it, you can find it at LasVegasCSL.org. And we look forward to seeing you
Just
there.
want to say, if you're thinking it's expensive or would be, it's not. So check it out before you decide that.
Definitely check it out. Yeah. And rumor has it that you might be able to see parts of it on New Thought Media Network, but we can't confirm that quite yet. So don't bank on that. Anyway, just thank you all for participating. Thank you both for being here. Such a joy to have you, and so great to have Cheryl out there, and John and Miriam, and all of you that didn't say anything. We feel the love. And so that's what we'd like to offer to you to take out into the world. That's the invitation to keep on rocking the love, you all. The world needs it.
I just want to say one more quick thank you to Reverend Jason and Reverend Carlton. Really appreciate it. It was really fun to be with you. All right.
All right.
Take it out.
Rock the love, everybody.